Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 14th to the 20th of July 2025. Now this is a special week because in the Egyptian tradition these were called the dog days. 14th to the 18th of July specifically. This is when Sirius goes behind the sun, and Sirius is the dog star, and these are seen as dates of great power. So while we reach the height of summer, maybe reflect on your power, what you're aligned to, whether you feel like you're reaching for your North Star, or off course, or just getting by, and ask for any inspiration on how to reach your greatest heights. Now this week we have Saturn turning retrograde at the beginning of the week. That's going to be 13 July to 28 November. So a relatively short retrograde for Saturn as it falls between the inner and the outer planets. And we're going back from 1 degree Aries to 25 degrees Pisces. Now in the spring when Saturn moved into Aries, everything was hovering around that position, including Neptune, the Sun, Mercury and Venus. So we're aware of this point in our charts if we can think back to the springtime, but now we get the retrospective. So we've had a taste of what Saturn feels like in Aries, strong, independent, centred, aligned, but now we've got 4 months of realignment to go in and make some changes. So Pisces will take us into our subconscious waters, start to do the filtering. What feels right, what feels wrong, what do we need to let go of? That can be ideas or beliefs about ourselves, ideas about the world, this will never happen, that can't be. And gently wash away any last residue that's stopping you being your true self. Saturn actually goes back into Pisces on the 2nd of September and back into Aries by the 15th of February. So we consider this winter as an immersion. Go back and find our soul desires. Go back and consider why we came here. So if we fully embrace this process, by next February we're back into Aries territory, but it isn't a race. We need to make the most of retrograde phases, filter and recalibrate, revise, introspect, go into our deepest feeling. What feels right, what doesn't feel right? Is there a calling towards something that we've rationally not given ourselves permission to follow? Is there a sense of purpose slowly coming through the mists? So Saturn retrograde, go over the equinox point again, and we've got a chance to make some final adjustments over the winter. On the 18th we have Mercury turning retrograde, and this is going to be solely in the sign of Leo until the 11th of August, going back from 15 to 4 degrees. So finding that placement in our chart, more immediate changes are about to come in. Anything that we've been noticing since the 4th of July can now be acted upon. Mercury changes our mind. Mercury helps us feel clearer, use our mind for better purpose, and Leo is a very heartfelt sign. So we can find our creativity, our power, our centre. And in this respect this seems to go very well with the Saturn retrograde, especially while Saturn's in a fellow fire sign. So mark down those dates, see what Mercury retro brings you. It can be something as simple as your daily journey changes, a diversion on the bus, and all of a sudden you bump into an old school friend and all sorts of connections come from that meeting. Or it can be that you decide to actively revise your CV or revise your view of self, or receive calls from old friends to go out and reconnect. So things can come back from the past, or we can go back to the past to make changes, or we can just be made to do things differently, and new opportunities spring out of that change of routine. So look at how you see yourself, your place in the world itself. You might revise your relationships with others. Secrets can come to light. We can say things that we didn't mean to say, or hear things that other people didn't mean to say. But it's all with the view to fine-tuning and enlightenment. So a very enlightening combination here. Mercury in Leo, giving us a chance to get to the heart of things. And as we know, Neptune's recently turned retrograde as well. We'll go back into Pisces in October and back into Aries in January, so very much walking a similar path to Saturn. So the way to distinguish between the two, you'll have a very different Saturn and Pisces in your natal chart, but with the Saturn retrograde you're looking at core strength and discipline and dignity, authority, making yourself strong. And with Neptune, You're looking at your soul purpose, your ethereal self, what you really feel, what you pick up on, what you notice in the spaces of life. Spirituality, seeing the bigger picture and tuning into your higher consciousness. So Neptune's been direct in Aries since spring, but now we get a retrograde and we can go in and check the soul content of our goals. Have we been tearing off on too practical a level? Are we chasing money rather than dreams? Those kind of things. Because a really successful life, of course, has the earthly abundance and happiness, but it's the soul's journey to earth and the soul purpose that is what brings true fulfillment. So I feel with all of these retrogrades we're getting schooled into all three of those things. Who are we? What is life? What are we going to do with our time here? What really matters on a physical, mental, emotional and spiritual level. And then it seems by next January, February, the fine-tuning is over and it's full steam ahead. So if you'd like to see what is happening for you, I am available zoehind7@gmail.com for readings, astrology, tarot, numerology. You can do 1 hour and half an hour recorded MP3. I've got course modules for astrology, tarot and numerology, working with your moon cycles, creating a personal lunar calendar, creating personal ritual on dates of power according to your chart, and house cleansing, house magic. So do email me if you're interested in any of that. I can customise all my content to specifically suit your needs. And I also offer coaching to be able to permanently dig up anything that you're holding on to or that's blocking your path forwards. So triple retrograde week, Neptune already, Saturn this week at the beginning, Mercury closer to the end, all taking us inwards. But as we see the longer timeline, with the Saturn and Neptune, this is our winter project, our second half of the year project. Because the fine-tuning we do now really sets up what we align with and manifest at the beginning of next year. So wishing you a magical week, and I'll see you next week.